Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on the IRS matrix. I'm going to show you how the IRS is using machine learning and artificial intelligence, or AI, to come after you for those unfiled tax returns and to collect those unpaid tax debts. How the IRS is using AI to come after you. That's the topic of today's video on the other side of the break.
1-877-LEVY-KING, LEVYKING.com.
What's up, guys? Corey Hankerson here from Legacy Tax, and they call me the Levy King because I've helped thousands of clients with unfiled returns, back taxes, tax liens, and that's right, IRS levies. If the IRS took your check, the Levy King will get it back. 1-877-LEVY-KING, LEVYKING.com. I'm also the author of End the Tax Nightmare, Insider Secrets to Beat the IRS and Reduce Your Tax Debt. Inside the book, I show you how to stop IRS levies, liens, and garnishments without paying the tax in full, how to set up the payment plan that you want and not the one that they want you to have, and how to potentially settle your tax debt for less than you actually owe. My book has been a top seller on Amazon for years. You can buy it right now for $19.99, but I want to give you a copy of the book absolutely free. Just go over to my website, www.endthetaxnightmare.com, and enter your name and email, and I'll send you a copy right away. No charge, not even for shipping, totally free. Now, before we go any further with the video, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Go ahead and hit that notification bell so you'll get a heads up each and every time we drop a new video. Okay, let's dive into today's content. The IRS doesn't think like it used to. Gone are the days when it was the norm for an IRS worker to sit behind a desk and pour over your financial documents by hand. Today, they have bots and AI-driven systems to pour through tons of your data to locate anomalies. Today's IRS uses complex systems to determine whether you're selected for an audit, whether you might be hiding income, and whether you can actually afford to pay your tax debt. Have you ever wondered how they decide who gets audited and who doesn't? When it comes to the IRS's audit selection process, we got to talk about something called the Discriminant Function System, or DIF. DIF is an algorithm that the IRS uses to scan tax returns and identify those returns that are statistically more likely to contain errors or underreported income. Each tax return gets a DIF score, or DIF score. Returns with higher scores are more likely to be audited. The IRS has been using DIF since the 1960s, and it's still used today as the primary statistical method for selecting who is audited. So, what about a particular tax return makes you more likely to be audited? Lots of things can cause a red flag in the DIF system or potentially lead to a high DIF score. Things like high income or underreported income, reported income on your tax return that doesn't match the income reported from companies or businesses that paid you, disproportionate business expenses relative to your income, unusual deductions, owning a cash business, owning foreign bank accounts, missing or complete information on your tax return. All of these things could lead to a higher DIF score. So as you can see, there are many different things that could potentially lead to a high DIF score and a higher chance of being audited by the IRS. But you got to keep in mind that the IRS usually only audits less than 1% of all tax returns every year. But even if you don't have any of the red flags that I just mentioned, you could still potentially be audited. And this is because they actually do choose a certain number of tax returns to get randomly audited each and every year. Now, full disclosure, the DIF system is not actually AI. Yes, it's an automation tool that helps the IRS identify which returns should be audited, but it does it based on past IRS experiences with similar types of tax returns that sort of match or coincide with your return. So let's talk about how the IRS is using actual AI systems. With the rise of AI in the past few years, you might be wondering if the IRS is already using it. The answer is absolutely yes. Today, the IRS has algorithms that scan your financial life. Before a human even touches your file, AI systems decide if your installment agreement, you're currently not collectible, or your offer in compromise passes the smell test. In other words, when you owe back taxes and you are claiming that you can't afford to pay them, the IRS is using automated systems to help evaluate your ability to pay the tax and to help make the determination as to whether the service is going to cut you a break. So let me give you an example of how this would play out in an actual case. Let me tell you about David. David owes the IRS about $74,000 and claimed that he couldn't pay his tax debt. David said he was barely making enough money to cover his rent and his other basic living expenses. He submitted a hardship request saying that he made only $3,000 per month. But the IRS AI system looked deeper into his case. It poured through all kinds of files, DMV records and, business records, bank accounts, etc. The system examined his bank information and found deposits that averaged $6,000 per month, not the $3,000 that he claimed. He claimed he had no assets, but DMV records showed that he owned a 2020 Tesla. The car was parked in front of a house that he actually owned, even though he claimed to be a renter. The AI system also found payments to his business that hadn't even been reported on his tax return. The system flagged him instantly. AI was like, not this guy, right? The IRS denied his hardship request. They sent him a notice of wage levy, a notice of bank levy, and blocked his passport. David was cooked. The IRS also uses AI systems to monitor your social media activity. A taxpayer who reports a minimal income while sharing images or videos of designer purchases, five-star hotels, and expensive jewelry may inadvertently trigger an IRS income. There are several cases where individuals have been caught and prosecuted for tax-related crimes with their social media activity playing a role in the investigations. One case involved a woman named Rashia Wilson from Florida, who flaunted wealth on Facebook while failing to report income from a multi-million-dollar tax fraud scheme. Yes, you have to report illegal income on your tax return. The IRS used her social media posts as key evidence against her, which resulted in a lengthy prison sentence and a significant multi-million-dollar financial penalty. The IRS has also targeted so-called crypto bros who have openly discussed large gains on social media platforms like Twitter and Reddit, but failed to accurately report those gains on their tax returns. Then there was a case of John McAfee. You probably know his name from cybersecurity software that's always popping up on your screen, on your computer, or your laptop, or whatever. McAfee routinely made public statements about how he was avoiding paying his taxes, despite making millions of dollars in profit from his businesses. It should be noted that the IRS has said that it does not inspect your social media information to search for new cases of tax fraud, but rather it searches your social media to investigate those that are already suspected of engaging in tax fraud or fraudulent activities. In other words, if you owe back taxes and you're claiming that you don't have the ability to pay the debt, don't go out and post pictures of yourself on a private jet or purchasing a Lambo, because the IRS has definitely entered the chat. The IRS AI systems is trained to sniff out two things: inconsistencies and capacity to pay. If the income and assets that you report in IRS documents doesn't match what they see on your social media feed, your hardship request gets flagged. They're looking at undisclosed income from 1099Ks, from PayPal, Stripe, Venmo, etc. They're looking at vehicle and real estate records. They're looking at luxury spending patterns and large unexplained bank deposits. Now, it's crucial that you understand how these systems work, because once you do, you'll be able to anticipate the government's moves and react accordingly. If you owe tax debt to the IRS and you're thinking about trying to resolve it, maybe a payment plan or hardship request, just know that the IRS already has its eyes on you. Listen, don't go it alone. One wrong number, one missing form, or one underreported deposit could cost you everything. Look, speaking of tax debt, I want you to know that there are special programs in place to help you get a fresh start. But how do you know if you qualify? You see, no two cases are exactly alike. So how do you know exactly how much you can settle for? Well, I've created a free tool to help you get qualified for a fresh start. Just head over to www.levyking.com Well, click the link below, follow the prompts, and answer a few simple questions, and we'll help you figure out your eligibility. That website again is www.LEVY-KING.com, or you can give us a call at 1-877-LEVY-KING. That's it for this week, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
1-877-LEVY-KING, L-E-V-Y, Levy-King, 1-877-LEVY-KING, LEVY-KING.com.
Owe back taxes to the IRS? Call the Levy King. He's the best. 877-LEVY-KING, LEVYKING.com.
1-877-LEVY-KING, LEVY-KING.com.